It is show 100. Show 100. Can you believe that we've been doing this show for 100 times? If I had something to be grateful for in my morning cup of gratitude, it is obviously that. I'm grateful to you, lovely people, for sticking around and showing up for the show. I'm more grateful that you're not just watching the show, but you are investing, not just here, but out there in your businesses, in your dreams, in your visions. I saw Root Patel last night, and he said, man, I love checking out the show in the morning when I can. I love that. It gets me absolutely pumped out of my mind. So we're going to cover that. For today's show, I've got some other stuff I want to announce. We're going to do a giveaway. We're going to donate to an entrepreneur organization that we love. But we're also going to do normal stuff. We're also going to do other news. We're also going to do gratitude, other news, and then we're continuing to cover MSPBA. Marketing, sales, production, bookkeeping, admin. You heard it here first. We invented this thing, and it's a format for which a client moves through, and is invoiced and becomes part of your ecosystem, MSPBA. And so we covered last week, we covered what MSPBA was, and the question came from Katie Yates. Hey, how do I know I need to capture systems, but how do I capture systems? Actually, how do I do it? And we've been covering how to actually cover what your minimum marketing systems should be and how to actually capture them. We've been talking about what your sales systems could be and the minimum sales systems and how your sales process. We've been covering how to do this in Google and G Suite, and then we've been covering how to do it in maybe Trello with a Kanban board and ClickUp for the advanced players. But you can do these systems, the minimum systems you need to get started and actually build your business. So we've been covering the marketing systems. We've been covering it in Google. We've been covering the sales systems. We've been covering that in Google. And we've been covering the production systems. We covered that on Monday. The production systems and the minimum systems you need and how to actually execute that for free in Google Drive or nearly free in Google Drive. Or if you want to level up with some Kanban boards and stuff, how to do that in ClickUp. Today, we're going to cover profit. On show 100, I'm so grateful that we'll also be covering how to capture moolah, instant profit, how to find profit instantly in your company by prioritizing it. If you've been around the Spark ecosystem at all, you know where this is going. If you have languished and actually have not seen where you can find your profits, you need to watch the show today. You need to save this, bookmark it, share it with a friend. If you know of a friend who is completely disorganized as it comes to their money, when it comes to the money of the business, today is an important episode, and we're going to continue the conversation after the show in the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group. I will petition Adam to do either a Facebook Live to kind of talk about high-level principles of Profit First and how to execute it further. But if you have questions, and I hope this show generates questions for you today, then you need to post them in the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group. Post them as a question, and we will get those answered for you, because our goal is to help you find the profitability you need to invest in the team you need to delegate the tasks you need to do so that you can focus on business development, sales, marketing, niching, systems, working on the business and taking it to the next level. So if that's okay with you for the show, we're going to get this thing going first and foremost, talking about what we're grateful for. Here we go. I love the warmest, most loveliest cup of coffee in the morning. And I am grateful that today is show 100. Today, we're going to be donating. We're going to be donating to Kiva.org. Let me post that here. Kiva.org is one of our favorite organizations. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Kiva.org. Boom. We love Kiva. Kiva is they're not a sponsor or anything like that of the show, but it is absolutely one of our favorite, Kiva.org. Boom. One of our favorite organizations to give to, because they donate to the entrepreneurial-minded people around the world. They basically Kiva goes out to people who don't have access to lending or credit and gives them microloans to invest in their small goat business, their small ice chest for cool drinks business in the marketplace. They do all sorts of loans. They have to pay back the loan with interest, and it feeds the system on how to actually help other entrepreneurs. So for today's event, we are donating $100 to kiva.org. And I'm actually going to do a fundraiser on the page and see if we just can't raise a quick $100 for that organization on top of, so you guys can match Spark's donation to kiva.org. We're loving it. But I also want to challenge you. I'm going to give one of you lovely people $100 through Venmo. We're going to give you $100 to the person who shares their favorite moment of the last 100 shows on their own Facebook. It's got to be on Facebook. And whoever posts their favorite show or episode or lesson from the Spark Show, the Goals and Gratitude Show, whoever shares that post and gets the most likes, comments, or engagements. So tag us, tag Grant, tag Marissa, share with us. But whoever gets the most, here, let me post this in the comments. We're going to give you $100 in celebration of the 100th show, because we really want to love on you guys. We really want to, here, let me post that here. Boom. We want to love on you guys. We want to share this with the public and get this going and get the show going, because we believe we're trying to add value to help you take your business to the next level. So the viewer who sees this episode 100, and shares their favorite episode and links to it and gets the most likes or comments on their post, we'll send you $100. So make sure you tag us so that we can track you, and we're going to get that going. So I'm grateful for you taking your Spark journey to the next level of igniting your own life of explosive significance. So that's happening today. Boom. Ryan Shane, thanks for the like this morning, sir. I appreciate you. So that's what we're doing for the celebration of the 100th show. So let's move forward for other news. Here we go. In other news other than politics, news other than polarizing content, news other than COVID, we've got an artist recreates. Boom. Here we go. Artist recreates the giant wave, Hokusai's giant wave out of 50,000 Lego bricks. Yes, you heard it here. A modern artist by the name of Junpei Mitsu, who is only one of 21 certified professional Lego builders, I guess, in the world. He has actually taken the time to recreate Hokusai's famous woodblock painting called The Great Wave off of Kanagawa. And this is a very famous woodblock painting. You've probably seen it on my backdrop before. It's that wave that kind of looks like all whippy and crazy. And then there's a little boat that rides along the wave. He made it out of 50,000 Lego blocks. And actually, as a good student or Japanese artisan, actually researched how peak waves are formed, how rogue waves are formed, where this wave might have come from, what the traditional boats were at the time, did all the study and research, and then also planned out and sketched multiple versions of a 4-foot by 5-foot, 50,000 part Lego piece of the Great Wave of Kanagawa. You can actually see this at the Hankyu Brick Museum in Osaka, Japan. And just so that you have the link, if you nerd out like me on ancient Japanese art, but also nerd alert on Lego bricks, and you can even see it right there in the thumbnail. Fantastic thumbnail of, and it's perfectly framed, of Hokusai's Great Wave out of 50,000 blocks. Here's to fun, creativity, and artisans who find the most, what could seem like the most obscure thing out of something so kitchen weird like Lego bricks. Like, this guy's having fun, but this guy considers himself an actual artisan and takes time to do the homework and the research. So you've got the link right there. Boom. Super fun. And in other news, artificial intelligence, my friends. Artificial intelligence is discovering surprising patterns in what's causing, or what has caused, Earth's biological mass extinctions. So basically, we know that most species that have ever existed on this planet, are currently extinct. We've had far more species that have ever been alive than are alive today. And human intervention is causing a rapid acceleration of mass extinction. But the Earth Life Science Institute in Tokyo has been wanting to actually understand if there are hidden patterns in extinctions. And so they've actually deployed artificial intelligence. Up to date, they have thought there's been about 5 mass extinctions in the Earth's history. And humans are kind of bringing in the 6th mass extinction, they've called it. But AI has actually discovered patterns that have actually identified 2 other additional known mass extinctions based on loading database after database of paleontology, that sounds so weird coming out of my mouth, paleontology data of research digs and bone findings and earth findings and tectonic plate findings that they've put together for paleontology, that sounds so weird coming out of my mouth. They've loaded all this data into an artificial intelligence, which has been scanning the data, looking for patterns. It's a pattern researching artificial intelligence. And this pattern research for artificial intelligence is basically asking, have there been other mass extinctions or other correlations when we stop seeing certain animals? And lo and behold, they have found 2 additional mass extinctions, as well as what they now call mass radiations, 15 mass radiations, where it massively altered the species on the planet. And though that might correlate with some of the extinctions, sometimes it just changes the behavior of the species enough to change migration patterns, change evolutionary trajectories. So this idea of mass radiations actually seems like it's a bigger threat to the human species in the future than even mass extinctions are. This doesn't lessen the threat of mass extinctions. It adds the threat of mass radiations, which thankfully in our science era, our spacefaring era, we're actually having technology to protect ourselves from radiation of space, radiation from the sun, and just general radiation from, I guess the space and the sun. So yes, all-purpose radiation. All-purpose radiation. Who thought you'd hear that before 7 a.m. on a weekday? So that, my friends, let me give you the link to this. If you are interested, paleontology. It sounds so weird. Say it 3 times fast. When was the last time you said this word? There you have it right there. Artificial intelligence discovers surprising patterns. So yes, if you have an interest in how AI is being deployed in so many interesting ways. I saw another article, and this is not other news. This is just a fun fact. I saw other news that it's now becoming a criteria for mid and upper level management to be versed in how to deploy AI. And we're actually looking at small ways with the productivity software. The reason we moved to the productivity software we are moving to is because there's automations, which isn't necessarily AI, and we recognize that. But it's better than all the manual updating that we were doing in our other productivity software. Mid-level managers, it's now being added to their job descriptions to be able to at least speak to how AI is being used in your discipline. So I highly encourage you to continue to pique your interest in what's going on in AI, at least in your field. You don't have to deploy it necessarily, but you need to keep your radar up for when that can massively help you get over the hump and take your business to the next level. So that, my friends, is other news. Let's talk about instant profitability. Okay, so we've been covering MSPBA, marketing, sales, production, bookkeeping, admin. I've already gone over the overview. We've covered the systems for marketing, the micro-marketing tool, the basic Facebook ad that you need to be running every 2 weeks for your business. We have the course in the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group, right there in the Goals and Gratitude group. We have the 20-minute course on how to get your first Facebook ad up and running in 20 minutes or less for under $20. It's an easy $20 ad spend that you could get going right there. You need to be doing much more than that. But if you have not been doing any of this lately and you've been neglecting your marketing, boom. Go there, take the course, go back to the video, the show for marketing. Then we covered sales, how to do the Spark Unsales system that I charge Boku bucks for actually coaching, one-on-one coaching on how to do sales. We do this in workshops as well, but go back to the live show. It's going to, diminish in the feed, but go back and get that information. We'll also be covering that in the Goals and Gratitude group. So share it with a friend if you know they struggle with sales, or if you struggle with sales, how we reverse and flip the script so that it's not sales, so that it's unsales, and then how we actually capture that system, both in Google Drive as well as ClickUp. And today, and then our last show about MSPBA, we covered production and how to actually create your folders in Google Drive for production, how to assign and delegate things in production, how to capture your systems. And then we shared with you what's going on in ClickUp and how we handle that, mostly through Kanban boards. But my team actually doesn't use Kanban boards as much as the list view. But the content and the statuses are all the same. Today, we're talking about moolah, money, profitability. And we're going to narrow this conversation to how to become instantly profitable. And Adam did this for me. Do not construe today's show as tax advice. There's no tax advice. Talk to a CPA. So that's my disclaimer. Ha! So if you take my tax advice and you do something goofy, that's on you. But we're going to cover what you should be doing for money, how to capture the invoicing system, how to capture the system, because we could talk about all kinds of things about profit and all kinds of things about hiring and all kinds of things about R&D. We could be covering a lot. We're going to narrow this, how to develop instant profitability and to manage your profit twice a month. And we're just going to cap that. And then I'm going to let I'm going to let Adam Welchel speak to this in the Goals and Gratitude group. Ask your questions there. I'll let him jump in because he's the pro. He's the guy that got us to profitability. He's the guy that helped us jump from $99,000 a year to $150,000 a year and beyond. He's the one that we share profit distributions with every quarter and vice versa. That he's the pro. Spark Bookkeeping, those are the people to talk to. So we're going to cover that, how to become instantly profitable. So if you know someone who has been struggling with how to manage their money, tag them right now. Post your questions in the comments or join the conversation at the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group. Get your friend who's struggling over there and we will help them go. And then what we're going to cover is how we capture the system in Google Drive and the folder system like we've been covering and how to delegate those things. And then how to also do it in ClickUp. We'll just give you a quick view of that. Let's do this, man. So first and foremost, a lot of early entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that are in the early stage, a lot of what they do, a lot of the decision-making they make is actually from a poverty mentality. A lot of entrepreneurs start their entrepreneurial venture because they're trying to add more cash to their world. And in trying to add more cash to their world, they start to kind of penny pinch and they bootstrap it and they hustle and grind. And all of these phrases really are saying, I'm running around doing the best I can, trying to eke out an extra $1,000 a month, an extra $5,000 a month, an extra $10,000 a month. Very few people are actually having a passion for the business, relatively speaking. Now, if you're in a co-working space, we sat and had drinks in snacks last night with a bunch of entrepreneurs who actually have a mission and a vision for what they do. But most people starting out, most people scratching their head on profit are operating from a scarcity mind, just trying to add more cash to the pile. And then they make decisions for hiring based on limited resources, not abundant resources. They make decisions on, hiring's the big one, but their technology stack based on a limited monetary thinking instead of an abundant-minded thinking. And the truth is you probably do have limited resources, but it's probably such a painful topic that you cover your eyes and just bear ahead and say, I'm going to do sales solves everything. I say this all the time. Sales solves everything. So I'm just going to get out there and sell. And you don't actually know what's going on with your money. Listen, we're going to rapid fire you and catch you up to this. We're going to find you instant profit today. Something you can do this afternoon to make your company profitable. But it does have consequences. It does have ripple effects that will also affect other aspects of your business. I recognize that, but your company needs that profit margin in order to sow money into R&D and into growth, into business development. So you're going to have to tighten your belt elsewhere. So let's look at this. Oh, and this is the other caveat here. We are going to hit Profit First from Michael Michalowicz. Hands down. Buy the book. Visit the website. Join the Facebook group, Profit First Professionals. Talk to a Profit First professional. I'm looking for the book on my shelf. But the problem is this. Entrepreneurs are so busy. We are not going to open our QuickBooks. We are not going to interpret a financial statement, which is crafted for the IRS's purposes, but is perfectly unreadable to the average entrepreneur. Like, what's revenue? Is that money I have in my pocket? No. In fact, a CPA could show you, hey, you were profitable this year by 10 grand. And you're like, great. Where's that money? And they go, oh, well, you don't have that cash. Well, then what the hell is the purpose of sharing that with me? It's absolutely irrelevant to the entrepreneur. Most CPAs are actually agents of the IRS, not agents of you. And they're trying to make you think the way the IRS thinks so that you are in good behavior and so that you don't get tax penalties. Very rarely are they collaborators in strategizing to taking the next level. That's not a dig against them, but that is the dynamics of an entrepreneur's relationship with a CPA. Thank God we found our CPA, who is herself an entrepreneur and thinks entrepreneurially, and she is far more conservative financially than I am. And that's very good for a very good relationship. And she's very familiar with Profit First. So we got very lucky with our not lucky, we've been blessed with our CPA. So what you want is you need as an entrepreneur to just look at your bank, which is what you do already. Most entrepreneurs just look at their bank accounts and decide whether or not they have the money on the moment and what has escaped their memory in that moment, what has escaped their thinking in that moment. Who knows? The money is not in the right bucket. So let's actually knock this out. Congrats on episode 100, sir. Huge goal reach. We appreciate your steady voice. The dulcet tones of Grant Nadeau from Rob Boudreau. I appreciate you, Rob. You're the man. Rob texted me the other day and said, hey, episode 100 is coming up. Hey, Rob, I don't know if you caught the intro, but we're giving away $100 to kiva.org to invest in entrepreneurs. And we're actually doing a giveaway to the viewer who shares on their own Facebook page their favorite episode or their favorite content or their favorite lesson from the show and gets the most amount of likes, comments, or shares. And we'll just tag us in that so you can share that with a friend if they've also gotten benefit. So just letting you know, sir. So we're covering Profit First and how to be instantly profitable. So here's the first step. And I don't even need to do a screen share for this. The first step is right now, bite the bullet. Pay the $20 a month or less, which is less than 2 trips to the coffee shop. Purchase and subscribe to QuickBooks. Connect your bank account. This should take 30 minutes or less. Get it going now. And you don't have to do anything with it. But get it set up. Buy your QuickBooks today. I am telling you this right now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to pause this video. If you're watching this video later, to those who are watching this later in the day, I'm just going to do a 2-second pause like this so that you know to pause the video. Go to QuickBooks or QBO.intuit.com, subscribe for like $20 a month or whatever the cost is, and just pay the price. This is the price of being in business. If you cannot afford this, you cannot afford to go out and sell. If you cannot afford this, you really just need to focus on your job. It's $20. It's bookkeeping. You will thank me in 6 to 12 months. So here we go. Here's your cue. Pause this video if you're watching later. And for those watching live, it's only going to be 2 seconds. Pause this video if you're watching later and go to QuickBooks. Get your account set up. Attach your bank account and do this now. 1,000, 2, 1,000. Did you do it? Please, for the love of all things holy, go do that today. It's better to have a CPA or a bookkeeper set it up. So if you have a CPA or a bookkeeper, do it. But if it delays you by another week to get your bookkeeping set up or your QuickBooks set up and connected to your bank account, if it takes you a whole other week, just go and do it. Just go and do it and get it set up. Reach out to Adam at Spark Bookkeeping at the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group or Spark Bookkeeping Facebook page. Reach out to them, ask them for help. Spark Bookkeeping will absolutely take care of you in the best ways possible. So that's step 1. Set up your QuickBooks. Quit asking questions. Quit ignoring it. Get it done. Set up QuickBooks. And I've got that in the comments there. Step 2, calculate profit first. So for this, I'm actually going to share my screen. And this is like the 2-second primer of how Profit First works. Okay. So let's actually look at this. Boom. Here's a spreadsheet. In short, Profit First says you always need to pay profit first. I'm going to cover this in just a quick second. Adam has better tools for you for this, but I'm just giving you the quick and dirty principle so that you can actually open up a Google Sheet because Katie Yates said, Grant, how do I capture my systems? Open up a Google Sheet, copy this down. If you're in the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group, we'll share it to you there. Adam will provide additional tools, but here we go. Number 1, here's the principles. Profit first is paid to yourself first. Open up a Google Sheet. They believe that a healthy, not health, but a healthy start is to pay out 5% profit, 15% in taxes, 50% to owner operator. This is when you're under $250,000 a year, and 30% to OpEx. These are what's known as your profit first distributions. I am not a profit first professional. Go buy the book, go hire a profit first professional. Now, and I won't go into this, it's covered in the book. They actually say that if you're less than 250K, these should be your distributions. And they've done the hard work, so pay them what they're worth, to discover, well, what if I'm at 500,000? What if I'm at $1 million? What if I'm at 5 million? I've got a good buddy who runs a 7-figure business, and he's deployed profit first at the right distributions, and it's not these distributions. Because if you're $1 million company, you're probably not paying the owner operator 50%. You probably have higher labor costs, but your profit distribution, it might be lower than 5%, but on $1 million, it might be higher cash to you. And as the owner, you should be receiving higher cash dollars, even though the profit might be down to 3 or 4% at that point. And you're going to be getting a little bit of a salary because you're probably still GMing some things, but you should have it should be a lot less than 50%. And then a lot of your money should be going to labor. By then, your taxes are also probably a little bit lower. Talk to a profit first professional. Talk to Adam from Spark Bookkeeping. Buy the Profit First book. But if you are waking up right now and you're a small business making less than $250,000, which most of you are, these should be your distributions. Okay. Now, if you've never done this, if you're starting from zero, then you're probably not paying any profit out. You might be lucky if you've been saving for taxes, and you're probably eating way more than you should be, but I suggest you knock this down, and your OpEx is probably my software, the cost of goods sold, my rent for my apartment or my office or whatever that is. You're probably having most of your money being distributed to owner operator. This is what I want you to try for right here. You can, and we'll get to the next steps in a second, but you can at least start with 1%. If you've been 0% profitable, you are going to find instant profit right here. That profit is sacred. That profit does not get plowed back into the company. No way. This is if you can only afford a coffee with your 1%, if you can only afford a Subway sandwich with this 1%, you take this 1% and spend it on you or your spouse or splurge. You have to splurge with this money. You have to take it if you haven't taken it yet. I suggest, not tax advice, but what I have done is I started by putting 10% away. Actually, I started putting 15% away, and we've worked our way down that we really only need to put about 10% away. You can at least pay your owner operator 30%, and you need it to at least pay. And notice I just took 1% from OpEx. You can at least start here. Here's the other rule of thumb. Let it go for a full quarter. Don't tweak this every week. The goal is to be managing it on top of your finances. Yes, you need to focus on marketing. Yes, you need to focus on systems. Yes, you need to focus on sales, but you at least need to get this under control. So how this plays out real quick. If on October, and you pay out twice a month on October 10th and October 25th. On October 10th, let's say that between the 26th of September and the 9th of October, let's say you pulled in $4,000. And that $4,000 is in an income account. Let's just say that's how it is. Then your 5% would be $2,000. Your 10% would, or 200. Your 10% would be 400. So 200 profit. Boom. You're profitable. Well, that's the 5% right there. Yeah, that's at the 5%. $200, you're profitable. Boom. $400 go into a tax account. You don't spend it. That's not your money. That's the IRS's money. Don't pretend it's your money. Don't plow it back into the company. Oh, I can take a deduction. Quit it. 1,120 that's 28%. Let's actually set that to 50% like it should be. Let's set this to 15% like we promised. And then let's set this to 30%. Here, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Bear with me, C9. Boom. C9 times 0.05, and this is C9. Here we go. Times times 30. Boom. Okay, our numbers are now correct. Boom, boom, 5, 15, 50, 30. Perfect. And then let's represent right here. Boom. Much better. All right. So 4,000 pays out like that. So you yourself should be able to put in the bank for you $2,000. You've put 200 into profit. You've put 600 into taxes. Woo! You can pay the IRS that. Boom. And now your operating budget is 30%. Grant, I can't run my company on $1,200. Quit thinking about that right now. Currently, this is how hypothetically the money would play out. So if you are paying your profit, your company is profitable. But Grant, I can't run my company on numbers like this. That's right. So you are not doing the entrepreneurial thing and actually entrepreneurially solving for this. Maybe your prices need to go up. Maybe your service scope needs to go up. Maybe you need to pick a higher market. Maybe you need to bootstrap and find creative ways to meet these ends. But your company has to produce 5% profit at least in this hypothetical healthy start. It has to pay the IRS and save the IRS because someday they're going to come knocking. And then you need to make some money. You can't keep telling your wife for too many years, hey, we're not making any money. You can't just plow this money back into the company. You can't do it. I'm not going to let you. Your company has to be a healthy company. This is an indication whether or not you have a good idea. This is an indication of whether or not you can hire. This is an indication of whether or not you're in the right market, charging the right price, having the best cost structure. This is determining how, if you need to buy in bulk, if you have products. This is determining so much. This is the truth serum. I think Michael Michalowicz in his book Profit First calls this the napkin assessment. If on the back of a napkin, you do these assessments and realize I can't run my company on this, this is the healthy assessment. This is why I suggest you start with these numbers. So if we start with these numbers, let's do 1%. Let's do 10%. Let's do, what is this, 50%. Let's knock our owner-operator pay down to 30%, and then let's take our OpEx to 59%. Boom. You know what? Can we run our company based on this? This might actually be where you need to start. You're only bringing 1,200 home for that 2-week period. So you can see how these numbers play out. And then this, let's say on December 25th, between the 11th and the 24th, let's say you made $4,000. Boom, you now know how to distribute it. This is your profit first system. Every 10th and every 25th, I sit down and do this very process. Here's some other quick tips that you need to know. Some other quick tips are this. Number one, create accounts for profit, create an account for taxes, create an account for different bank accounts, an account for owner operator, create an account for OpEx. Grant, I've got to create 4 accounts. You're not done. You need to also create an income account. You also, in a different bank, need to create 2 other accounts. One is called profit hold, and the other is called taxes hold. You do these other 2 accounts at a different bank because they need to be difficult to get to. The income account is where all income lands. All checks get deposited to that account. You have a single income account. So you actually are going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts at your current bank and 2 accounts at a separate bank. Grant, that's a lot of work. You asked me how to create these systems. This is how to create these systems. This will save your butt. Last year alone, Marissa and I, we got a bonus. We paid our taxes because we were saving taxes. Our taxes ended up only costing a quarter of what we had saved. And me and Marissa get an owner distribution from that money. Or we could plow that money back into the company if we want. It was a tax money, though, so we could either take it as profit or take it as investment. But I worked lean all year based on how this calculation goes. This is the only profit mechanism you need to get started to put a fire under your butt. Now, Grant, that's cute. So we've created these bank accounts. So you got to create the bank accounts. You pay out on the 10th and 25th. And of course, to you silly little people, Grant, are there nuances? Yes, of course there are nuances. Of course, Grant, I've been in business for several years and I kind of have this going. It's like the envelope method. I kind of have this going, but like my numbers are a little wonky. Go to the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group and ask, Grant, I'm in a company that's doing 8 figures. I've never really done it. I just throw money over here and we're doing fine, right? Join the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group, have the conversation there, or reach out to Spark Bookkeeping and ask them, because there's hidden money out there. You can run this method. You can run this into the tens of millions, into the 8-figure companies easily. Yes, it will be nuanced. Yes, your QuickBooks will look differently. Yes, your bookkeeper and your CPA might even be in-house. A lot of this will be different. But for most of you starting out, you haven't opened your QuickBooks, which was step 1. And step 2, the advanced level, which should take you about 2 weeks to do, a week and a half to do. I recommend you just light a fire under your butt and get it going. Make sure all deposits are landing to your income account. And then your income account is the account. All your accounts really should be attached to your QuickBooks. Get a bookkeeper to help you. This can be set up, though, in about a week's worth of admin work. Total about 8 hours of work. It should take you about a week, maybe 2 weeks to fit those 8 hours in around your other daily work. But I'm telling you, once you do this, how do I know? How do I make financial decisions? You look at your OpEx account. Open up your bank and look at your OpEx. Can you do it? Can you make that decision? Can you buy that computer? Can you get that? New rental, your new office? Can you do any of that? For us, we knew that we could hire because I have an additional account called a payroll account. You don't need that, but I have an additional account called a payroll account. And not only does my money move into payroll because I have a payroll service, we'll get into that some other day, but I also season that account with extra money from OpEx. I trickle OpEx money into the payroll account. And once I have enough money in that payroll account to cover the first few paychecks of a new hire that I need, I know I already have it in that account. Meanwhile, I was bootstrapping the rest of my OpEx. I was figuring out ways to do it. That is how the Profit First method works. Now, let's take a timeout on that. You can watch this video later. You can join us in the Goals and Gratitude group and ask these questions later, but I'm not going to beat this dead horse. You have to set up QuickBooks. You have to have at least these 5 accounts, income and these accounts. And then if you want to be a real baller, you're going to open up these other accounts so that you can manage your profit and your taxes in another account. So it's hard to get to, so you can't use it when you think you need it. And then a payroll account to season that. That's like the advanced level. Let's derail. Let's actually jump over to how you can set up your bookkeeping in Google Drive, because I also promised to show you how for free you can set up your systems. And this is, now we're going to pivot from bookkeeping to invoicing, because invoicing is also handled in the bookkeeping level. So in our last video, I'm not going to rehash it. Go back and watch it. We talked about how someone moves through production, and a new request, I won't rehash it, but a new request goes through new request. You have the steps of your company, and there might be multiple steps. That's why I have the word repeat here. And you go through multiple steps, and then you have a quality check. And then once the project, or once the request, or once the client service is complete, it then the Google sheet then gets moved from quality check to bookkeeping and maintenance. And then once a week or once every 2 weeks, you or an administrator or a manager or a bookkeeper will then take that Google sheet and move it into bookkeeping. In bookkeeping, it then gets dropped in the to invoice folder. So you're going to create the folder 04, B for bookkeeping. Create that folder if you don't have it now. Open up, pause this video if you need to. Pause the video if you're watching it later. Pause it, and then create your 4 folders. 0401 invoice, 0402 invoice sent, 0403 collections, because you're collecting because they're behind, 0404 paid. They could jump from invoice sent to pay that next day, and it goes to paid. And it's a Google sheet. It's just a Google Doc. I'm sorry, a sheet. I've been saying the word sheet. It's literally a Google Doc that just gets dragged along the buckets. If you're just now jumping in on this training, go back and watch the first few training on what I'm talking about. We created a Google Sheet for the client request, and that Google Sheet has moved through the system, through its multiple folders, and now it's dropping into these subfolders of bookkeeping called invoice, invoice sent, collection, paid. If you want to see this in our example ClickUp, in our example ClickUp, you can get this. It's the same thing. It would move from production. A client request would move from production, and it would move from our services in production. Do we have any services here? Boom. And it reaches to the end, move to bookkeeping, and I would click it and drag it and move it into bookkeeping under our invoicing list. This list should actually be called invoicing. And it would move to invoice sent, to collections, to paid. And you can set deadlines on this thing. You can actually set timers on this thing. So this is the advanced ClickUp version, but the most basic version you need. These are the same statuses. And you can then, as we've discussed in previous videos, you can actually assign these tasks to an assistant. You can delegate this. So once your Google Doc of the support request or the inbox request or whatever you call it, once it's moved through production and you've dropped it into bookkeeping under invoice, you can delegate that entire box. It can be sent to a virtual assistant. Hey, every Monday or every Friday, I want you to go through invoices and I want you to email them to the clients like this. Turn it into a PDF, drop it into an email, and send it to the client. Boom. And then they're responsible for it. And now it's your job to quality check that. Listen, I told you this was going to be simple. I told you it was going to be how you capture your systems. Now, the other thing is this. You can actually, if you notice here, actually, let me do this. If you notice, I've got a document here called 0400 bookkeeping system. In this document, you would outline how to do the steps. And then you would capture a Zoom or a video and embed it or link it from YouTube or drop it right in the folder, a video that the person you're delegating bookkeeping to or invoicing to, you're recording a video and showing them exactly how to do it. I was up this morning for one of my assistants, Princess, and recording a ton of these videos of how to do these steps, and I'm delegating it, and it should take you about 1/10 of the time to delegate it that it takes them to do it, than it takes the actual task. So you drop the video in this folder, and now they know how this system works. And then in invoicing, you drop a video and show them how to invoice. There's a video here or a Google Doc titled appropriately so that they know these are the instructions. It's the README file on how they actually manage this. This is the simplest, most affordable way for you to actually create your system and delegate your system. So you can actually follow this. Go back to the previous videos where I showed you actually how to assign things within Google Docs. You can actually assign something to someone in Google Docs. We did it in a previous video. You need to look there. So are there nuances? Yes. Customize and tailor this bookkeeping process to your bookkeeping process. For example, we send invoices through QuickBooks. Okay, there's a way to do that. Do the how-to, capture the how-to, and then delegate it and move on with your day. Boom. Step 4, B for bookkeeping. MSPBA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The client moves through your marketing, then gets sold or converted, moves through your production, and today that we covered, they actually then move through your bookkeeping process. Maybe there's nothing to do. Maybe they're on subscription and it's automated. That's fine. That's totally fine. But you've got to capture the system at minimum in Google Drive with your folder process, and it's ready to delegate. And you need to get to delegating as soon as possible. We've given you also today how to calculate profit first. If you want more on this conversation, go to the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group, tag at Adam Welchel and myself, or go to Spark Bookkeeping's Facebook page or their website, sparkmybooks.com, and ask them questions so that you know how to get your bookkeeping under control. It's affordable. You will know so much more. You can make more informed decisions as an entrepreneur, and you can move quickly, more quickly, to delegating. Listen, that's it today. I'm going to have coffee with my lovely wife. We're going to sit down together. Go out there today and make it a killer day. Go out there and elevate yourself and co-elevate others by being more ready to delegate and give people jobs. Go out there and be more ready to give people meaningful work by getting this money thing under control. I know there's a lot more to talk about as it comes to money. How do I find the money to hire? How do I handle financing? Do I take out lines of credit? There's so many nuances, but if you do not have these basics in place, you're missing out. Listen, take action today. Get going on this, but remember the mission: igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Go out there and share this episode with somebody. Share what you've learned with other people so that you possibly could win that $100, and we'll notify you when we've donated to kiva.org on your behalf because of our 100th episode.